What is being green? Is it a gimmick? A trend? An excuse for regulation and taxes? Most green terminology has become so overused that some people have lost sight that underneath the bureaucracy and propaganda, there is a viable, sustainable methodology. Whether you believe in climate change or not, there are advantages to adopting an environmentally aware lifestyle. In fact, not only can embracing these ideas improve your quality of life, it can also provide long-term financial benefit. This is what Steve and Azita Goldman set out to prove when they took on the task of building GE3, a 14,000 square foot, energy-efficient, environmentally friendly luxury estate located in Southern California.
Professionally, both my husband and I do come from electronics industry, and we did end up in businesses and careers that got us introduced to solar inverters. And so we do have some, natural path into where we are.
I'm an engineer by training, and I ran a business for many years with power electronics, and the whole business was about deriving efficiency, building products that would provide more efficiency, use less electricity, and be good for the environment and good financially because they're more efficient.
And when we retired, we decided that in order to pay back our debt to society, we work hard, we play hard, but going forward as investors, whether our own capital or the venture capitals that we have available to us, if we invest in something, we want to invest in green technology.
As we explore the effort and the technology that went into creating GE3, you will see how the Goldman's project proves four things. Building green is affordable. While upfront costs were admittedly more, the benefits and long-term savings will more than offset the initial outlay. Building green isn't about sacrifice. The technology and ideas applied in GE3 can be applied to any home to enhance quality of life, whatever the size, whether building, buying, or improving. Building green means building sustainable, and that makes long-term financial sense, whether you intend to pass on your home to your children or sell it somewhere down the road. Finally, building green means being virtually maintenance-free, because truly green materials are designed to be sustainable, which means they are highly durable and resistant to much of the normal wear and tear suffered by traditional products. While the Goldmans were keen on building a net zero home, they also wanted something that was beautiful, artistic, and creative, something that would complement their lifestyle. So, when they set out to put together a design team, the first place they turned was Barry Salahian, a designer well-versed in integrating beautiful design with form and function.
Every time I see the house, I'm still grateful to the construction team. The way they have put it together, the way it's been detailed, the execution of them is extraordinary.
While Barry was brought on board to serve as the chief architect and creative genius behind GE3's design, he didn't have the depth of experience with green buildings necessary to meet the Goldman's vision of LEED Platinum. For that expertise, the Goldmans turned to Michael Van Paris.
When it comes to doing on the residential sector, I basically get involved in these large homes that would be considered more of office building, because they're not just your typical home. They have so many functions and features, attributes and rooms, characteristics that a typical home don't have. We're looking at 10,000 square foot homes, 14,000 square foot homes. And the idea is to make their carbon footprint a 2,000 square foot home.
To round out his design team, Steve selected Mo Bourget and his firm Archi10, who not only have extensive experience in building high-end homes, but also share the Goldman's philosophy that every home should endeavor to be in tune with the nature around it.
Every corner of the house, from every angle, you can see the ocean, and it's open from indoor to outdoor, so it's a kind of inviting from inside to outside and outside to inside. So that floor plan and flow of floor plan, open floor plan, gives just a good relationship between outdoor and indoor and taking care of the view.
To round out the team, the Goldmans chose Schaub Construction to serve as general contractor. Owner Dave Schaub's work philosophy and ability to collaborate with designers and architects aligned perfectly with the Goldmans' vision of a fully involved, fully collaborative team. With the team selected, Mr. Goldman then applied his skills as a CEO to manage the group. Those involved attribute Steve's management style and willingness to have everyone on board throughout the duration of the project to GE3's outstanding success.
Every week we have a meeting. And for about 2 years we've been doing this with weekly meetings, and I run the weekly meeting like a staff meeting. We have an agenda, we have action items, we have a brainstorm session, we have follow-up. I literally have hundreds of pages of notes from all these meetings.
In short, the team created a perfect storm that propelled them from start to finish without any costly delays. As the baseline for their efforts, the team focused on designing and building an estate that would be sustainable.
The first concept of a greenhouse is it has to last. In my opinion, if a building, a structure, a home, an office, whatever it is, doesn't last over 50, 60 years, and I would even push that, talk about 80 or 90 years, it's not a green home. Because no matter how green you make a home, if you've got to tear it down and remodel it and remake it, it ceases to be green. It ceases to be sustainable.
It wasn't just important to build a house that was green and environmentally safe, and we saved on utilities, and we have the best air quality inside, and the AC units were no longer making me crazy with their noise. It was also build a house that lasts 100 years. If there was a product out there that represented itself to be so-called green but had no longevity, we did not use it.
The second major criterion for the project was efficiency. And it was whilst looking into efficient green building that Mr. Goldman discovered the LEED process.
So when I decided to build this home, which is about 14,000 square feet in total, I really wanted the project to be efficient. And I started studying the different ways to accomplish that and discovered the whole LEED process and decided that I want to build a net zero energy home, that essentially I will be able to create enough energy on site to completely power the entire project.
Established in 1998, LEED is now a nationally recognized benchmark for the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of high-performance green homes and buildings. There are currently 4 levels of LEED that can be achieved: certified, silver, gold, and platinum. Each level is obtained by meeting a minimum number of points, starting with 40 points for basic certification. Because of its size, to achieve LEED Platinum, GE3 had to meet 118 points of LEED criterion.
Going LEED Platinum is going above and beyond, right? It's doing the whole 9 yards. I mean, you want to get everything to get Platinum. It's not easy to get Platinum. You've got to go the extra mile.
When looking at a home in terms of how green it is, we need to look at systems that fall into 3 different categories: passive, active, and then those that fall in between. Passive systems are those elements that contribute to how green our home is without having to actively work at it. This includes orientation and whether the house is positioned to take advantage of sunshine, seasonal climate, prevailing winds, and other naturally occurring elements. Active systems deal with things like how the house obtains its power, the type of lighting and appliances used, and how a home is heated and cooled. Then there are those elements that fall in between. This includes the types of materials used, how durable they are, and how they are obtained. What type of insulation is used? Is the stone or brickwork locally sourced? Does the wood come from a responsibly harvested forest? And what's the upkeep? How long will a material last before it needs refreshing or refurbishing? Building a home from scratch, like the Goldmans did, usually means that you can start with a clean slate to take full advantage of all of the passive elements. However, GE3 wasn't completely a clean slate, as the property was already pre-approved for a large Mediterranean-style home situated in a specific way on the land.
When we started this project a few years back, they decided to embark on this journey of creating this magnificent house, and we looked at a lot of different properties. And we came upon this property that already was approved for a certain size of house, which is not available or permittable in Malibu anymore. So we ended up with a house that was approved already. So the envelope of the house, the size of the house, the height of the house, the orientation was already established. So we had to work within that.
Applying the constraints imposed by the pre-approvals, Steve and his team began designing their net zero home, starting with what passive systems could be incorporated into the design.
And so we started with the building envelope. How do we build a building envelope that retains heat, and so you don't have to use a lot of air conditioning in the summer and a lot of heating in the winter? And so what we did is we designed this building 65% more efficient than required by code.
From there, they moved on to other elements, examining each one for not only how it contributed to the net zero goal, but how it contributed to the overall aesthetics of the property. One of the key features that both provides essential function as well as adds beauty and uniqueness to the home is the roof. Not only does its interesting design showcase the views, the roof also plays an important role as one of the home's key passive systems.
One of the things that we ended up taking advantage of was the height and the pitch roof that was already existing. We reversed it and made it into a butterfly roof. And that butterfly roof is one of the ways that this house collects water.
We have large tanks in here. We collect all the rain from roof, our own patios outside, and every drop of that water is stored, has a pump, and it regenerates that water for our landscaping purposes.
In addition to helping reclaim water, the roof is also set at the perfect angle to receive sun and heat the solar hot water system. Inside, the ceiling's upward slope serves as a natural cooling system. Because heat rises, the inverted design allows any accumulated hot air to travel along the slope to the upper edges, where windows open to release it outside. Another way the Goldmans combine eco-friendliness with aesthetics is through the materials used for certain aspects of the house. For instance, the interior flooring is lava stone, which is both beautiful and extremely hardworking. Trespa, which is a brand of high-pressure laminate plating, is used as exterior cladding and on interior surfaces and decorative facades. Not only is Trespa attractive, it is also durable, weather-resistant, color-stable, and very low maintenance. For interior and exterior stair railings, the Goldmans went with stainless steel, which is maintenance-free. The locally sourced stone used at entryways was also used for landscaping, creating a theme that visually ties the interior and exterior of the property together. On the inside, doors and windows are fitted with responsibly sourced wood. However, on the outside, they use aluminum, which is, again, maintenance-free. For exterior flooring, hard-wearing pebbles and cement were used, while a highly durable ceramic was applied to the pool, eliminating the need to strip, acid wash, and repaint it every few years. While some of the materials used are not what one would officially consider green, we need to keep in mind that sustainability is at the heart of any eco-friendly design. By selecting hard-wearing, long-lasting materials that are very low maintenance, the Goldmans not only lowered their upkeep costs, they also ensured that down the road, the home will be as beautiful as it is now without the need for major refurbishment. And that is truly being green. With passive systems determined and materials under evaluation, the next step was to address active systems. For heating and cooling, the Goldmans decided to use a geothermal system. While geothermal technology is still relatively unknown in the U.S., the government has begun recognizing its value and are offering rebates and incentives to encourage its use.
Geothermal is a technology where you dig several hundred feet into the ground and you run water through the ground and you take the energy out of the heat, run it through what's called a water-to-air pump, and it creates air conditioning or heating, depending upon how the system is programmed for heat or cold. This system of geothermal is 70% more efficient than conventional air conditioning.
Geothermal systems can last for up to 50 years and are low maintenance. Using a geothermal system also eliminates the eyesore and noise factors associated with conventional air conditioning compressors. The next major active system to be addressed was lighting. For GE3, the Goldmans went with LED lighting throughout the house. As most lighting designers will tell you, using house-wide LED lighting has always been problematic and impractical. This is why most people have a mix of lighting types in their home. However, by applying his engineering and power electronics background, Mr. Goldman was able to develop a revolutionary, proprietary LED system that eliminates the problems typically associated with LED. The result is a lighting system with all of the capabilities of the most exotic halogen system, but is 75% more efficient.
The entire house has a proprietary LED system. And what we mean is that it has an LED architecture system that runs on DC. Not only it's higher efficiency and it's very precise, it's also flicker-free under any condition. And that's a very important issue for a lighting designer.
So in summary, we start with a building that's 65% more efficient. We reduce by 70% the air conditioning load, and then the next big culprit is lighting. We reduce that by 75, and then we use all Energy Star appliances, highly efficient appliances, and we have a 14,000 square foot building that's probably using the electricity of a 3,000 square foot building, maybe 4,000 square foot.
By selecting active systems that greatly reduce the load the house creates, the Goldmans were able to install a much smaller solar field than one would expect for a property of this size. One of the often overlooked elements of building green, which also has a direct impact upon your quality of life, is the quality of the air inside your home. With GE3, the Goldmans wanted to achieve the highest quality of air possible. This was accomplished by using specialized filters and by being selective of the materials they used inside their home.
90% of our life is inside a home or inside of a business. And what people don't realize is inside you have the same air that you have outside, and then on top of that you have gases that are emitting from all kinds of materials in your homes.
Because GE3 is a large luxury home, it includes elements that you wouldn't typically find in smaller homes. For instance, it has a theater. Theaters typically use a lot of power. However, by using digital amplification, the Goldmans Theater is able to operate using less power than needed to run your average blow dryer. There is also a home automation system.
The brain of the house is a Crestron home automation system, and we integrated everything into the Crestron. So one of the things we did with the Crestron system is try to integrate the automation with a passive system that we designed in the home. The home basically runs by itself and doesn't really involve much human intervention other than enjoyment.
Now, at this point, you may be thinking that there are bound to be a lot of personal compromises made in order to meet LEED Platinum. But, as the kitchen illustrates, this isn't the case.
As soon as something cooks in the kitchen, whether it's myself, my mother, a professional crew for a party, everybody gathers around the kitchen. So the kitchen, to me, is the heart and soul of the house. I was able to achieve LEED Platinum and actually pass the points, but not use a local customized kitchen cabinetry and go overseas and get my kitchen cabinet. This particular kitchen is from Baltup, and I used Baltup because I see them as a manufacturer that is in green technology. They are energy efficient factory, and they do use materials that are reproducible in nature. And among the different manufacturers of kitchen cabinetry, they met my philosophy best.
Of course, no project is without its challenges, and GE3 was no exception. While green technology and ideas may be more embraced by California than other states, some of the technology is still new enough that the city had concerns.
I've been in the industry for a while in terms of green and sustainable designed homes and office buildings, structures in general. And one of the key issues and challenges that I run into is dealing with the city. And in any aspect where you're bringing on a new technology or you're bringing on a new concept to the city, to the building department, there's going to be a lot of hesitation on that aspect because it's the building and safety department. So their primary goal is safety. They want to make sure that, you know, the building's not going to fall apart or something's not going to be liable. So understandably, they have their concerns to go forward with.
There are design aspects, there are technical aspects, there are bureaucratic aspects. There are so many different aspects to a complex project like this that just having a good contractor by itself is not going to be able to resolve them.
And in this project, I couldn't have asked for a better team. All the pieces were there. The builder was on board. All the consultants were on board. The architect, everybody who had anything to do with this project was working well together during the design phase and during the building phase, weekly meetings. And that was one of the greatest success stories of this project, a team effort.
At this point, we should probably talk about costs. How much more did GE3 cost to build when compared to a traditionally built home of comparable size and appointment? Well, the answer may not be as much as you think. Selecting eco-friendly materials added approximately 10% to the Goldman's bill. Choosing the most energy-efficient systems on the market added another 10%. So, the overall upfront costs for making GE3 as green as possible were about 20% more than they would have been for a traditionally built home. A green home is a sustainable home, and that means that its initial value will be higher, and it will hold that value longer. That alone makes the initial investment a sound financial decision. While not everyone aspires to a 14,000 square foot luxury home, there is a lot to be learned from GE3, no matter what size home, whether you're building or buying.
There is a balance between what's green and what's useful. And that's where a lot of research had to go into our project.
You might have a project very carefully drawn on the paper. Everything is so precisely calculated and detailed. If you don't have a good construction management, if you don't have a good team for construction, it doesn't work.
And the result of taking the collaboration of everybody together is 1 + 1 + 1 is not 3 or 4, it's 10 or 20.
Any architect that is at the leading edge of this new construction can guide you and help you and let you choose into what extent you're going to incorporate these guidelines.
You don't necessarily need to go with the certification, but hey, it's a good base point, especially for people who don't know so much. This is a good stepping stone to point you in the right direction.
Whether you believe in global warming or not, if you are building, buying, or renovating, the ideas and technologies that make a home green are worth exploring.
Well, it's really quite wonderful. The house has very, very little maintenance. It's really virtually maintenance-free. The water is on an automatic system. The lighting automatically comes on and off. There's really nothing to do to maintain the outdoor of the house other than trim some of the shrubs, but most of those are natural, and so it's quite amazing. The combination of all these benefits in 7-8 years will recover most of the expense that we put into the home. And so over a long term, the investment in a green energy efficient property is actually positive.
I actually learned a lot. I think if we go back to the day we started the construction of this house and the planning stage and think about what we learned during the process and all the new material, new concepts, new ideas that has developed since then, we probably are looking at a lot more improvements and a lot of things that can be done easier, better, and the fact that we're not alone.
So, why would you want a green home? For the quality of life, for the savings on energy bills, for the low maintenance, for the sustainability, for the legacy or resale value, and yes, if you are so inclined, for the planet.